The University of Connecticut is one win away from reaching the Final Four behind the Huskies headliner, Caron Butler.
Pump fakes, 8 on the clock, tricky dribble, spins, tough fadeaway, good! Butler for 3, it's good! What a shot by Butler, he's got...
Behind Butler's superb play, the tenacious Huskies enter today's East Regional Final against their toughest test thus far, the mighty Maryland Terrapins, who feature their own superstar.
Dixon from the right wing with an NBA three off the glass. Length to Dixon, wide open top of the key jumper, got another one.
Behind Juan Dixon's hot shooting and a dominant inside presence, the Terrapins have cruised through the tournament. Today it's the final piece of the Final Four puzzle, Maryland and Connecticut, next on CBS. Welcome, friends, from the geographic center of the Empire State on the campus of Syracuse University. The road to the Final Four continues with the East Regional Final and the final piece of the puzzle. The UConn Huskies taking on the Maryland Terrapins next here on CBS. Indiana, Oklahoma, Kansas have all qualified for the Georgia Dome, and Atlanta, and who will get the final ticket? Jim Nance, Billy Packer with you. These are two teams very familiar with one another. Two coaches that go way back too here, Billy.
They really do. They started coaching against each other way back in the 80s up in the Boston area. So there'll be no secrets here as to what they want to do. The key, Jim, to the game, Maryland's going to want to go inside early and often, and let's see if Connecticut can stop them. That's what it's going to be all about.
It's going to be a great matchup, and it's just minutes away. We'll continue on the road to the Final Four on CBS in just a moment.
I have something to tell you.
You first.
No, you go.
I'm not ready to get married.
Okay.
So, what was your news?
I won the lottery.
$63 million.
Think about it this way, man. After taxes, that's only like $30 million.
That's it. Yeah.
Life is best told over a great tasting Miller Lite at a place called Miller Time.
Shannon? Hey, it's Steve. What's going on?
If you haven't tried extra strength Rolaids, you're in for a new experience. It's fruity, creamy, smooth. A new test-proof extra strength Rolaids has the taste even Tums can't beat. And it's fast. Extra strength Rolaids quickly neutralizes 21% more stomach acid than Tums EX. R-O-L-A-I-D-S. Rolaid spells relief with a taste that can't be beat.
It's called a panic room. It's 8 feet long. It's encased in steel. It was the safest room in the house until tonight.
What we want is in that room. We can't get in the panic room. We have to get her to come out.
On March 29th, the director of Fight Club takes you into the Panic Room. Rated R. Opens everywhere March 29th.
Spin, spin, spin the globe. It's your turn to spin the globe. Spin it, spin it, spin it.
All around the world, Siemens is helping people work together, even when they're not together. From next-generation internet to mobile business solutions, we're giving people the freedom to communicate better.
Spin, spin, spin the globe. It's your turn to spin the globe.
It's a full-service show, Dave!
Dave!
Dave?
Dave is your friend.
The first name, Dave, in late-night television.
Your name comes up all the time.
Connecticut and Maryland just minutes away at the Carrier Dome. The Huskies having won 12 straight coming into this East Final. And the lineups for the Huskies: Caron Butler, who has starred throughout the NCAA tournament, including 34 in a win against NC State. Okafor, what a influence that freshman is inside. Selvey, Billy talking so much about the inside matchup here. Talik Brown and Tony Robertson in the backcourt. Solid backcourt for the Huskies, led by Coach Jim Calhoun, the national championship coach of 1999, trying to take his program to a Final Four for the second time in history. And there's Gary Williams. Last year he took his alma mater to a place it had never been, to the Final Four in Minneapolis. Former starting point guard at Maryland and team captain back in the 60s. His front court, Mouton, Baxter with so much experience, and the talented Chris Wilcox. Juan Dixon, the all-time scorer at Maryland, and Steve Blake, arguably the best backcourt in all of college basketball. And joining us, as always, reporting on the sidelines, is Bonnie Bernstein. Bonnie?
Hi, Jim. Well, both of these teams like to work inside out, and when you look at Maryland's dynamic duo down low of Lonnie Baxter and Chris Wilcox, they've helped give Maryland a 29-point advantage in the paint so far in the tournament. Now, when Maryland beat UConn back in December, Baxter had a monster day. He had 24. Taj Holden had 15, and they were able to draw Connecticut's big man, Emeka Okafor, into foul trouble early. The game plan today will be the same, but keep in mind, Okafor is just a freshman. That was only his 4th game. He told me, I was basically still a high school ball player back then. Now I'm a much smarter player, Jim.
And one of the great shot blockers in college basketball, Emeka the Rejecta Okafor of UConn. It's the Huskies and the Terrapins coming up next on CBS.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship is sponsored by Volvo, Bacardi Silver, United Airlines, and by Microsoft.
Take all the time you want, folks.
We'll take this one in red.
Beautiful choice, sir.
No, black.
Black. That's actually my favorite color.
Red. Definitely red.
When software lets you quickly give customers what they want, that's one degree of separation. That's business with .NET from Microsoft.
Y'all fly from San Antone, Indianapolis, Santa Barbara, Hartford. Yes, we do fly out of there. I try to put a face with the voice, so I feel like I'm actually speaking to a real person. That's the neat thing about it. It's just a random draw. You never know who you're going to get. My name is Jennifer Davis. I work in reservations for United Airlines. Just tell us when and where. That's all you have to do.
I can listen. I can cook.
Good. I can coach.
Kids with something to do are less likely to do drugs.
I can drive.
I can paint.
I can dance.
A little of your time can make a lifetime of difference.
I can read.
I can help. You can help. Call toll-free 1-877-KIDS-313 to find out about community drug prevention programs.
I can keep a kid off drugs.
Hi, everyone. I'm back in town to get you on your feet again. Get up.
Okay, fellas.
So what do you think? Good offense or good defense? Pick one for a chance to win a Volvo S60 at volvocars.com/questions.
Last week's most-watched show, Survivor, returns to its regular day and time with an incredible challenge you won't believe. Wow. All new Survivor, CBS Thursday at 8, 7 Central.
We're back at the 5th largest dome in the United States, the Carrier Dome, the largest on-campus athletic arena in the NCAA. What a sight it is, just packed here for Connecticut and Maryland. And the Huskies rode to the Elite 8, Billy, through Hampton. North Carolina State, the Wolfpack, had beaten the Terrapins in the ACC semifinal. And then Southern Illinois fell victim to the Huskies on Friday night. For Maryland, it looks like a far more difficult path to the regional final here, Billy.
Well, Wisconsin, a very good defensive team and one of the co-champs of the Big Ten. Obviously a tough out, but Maryland put them away the biggest margin they've ever had in an NCAA tournament. And, of course, the outstanding game against Kentucky, the University of Kentucky the other day. A real battle that came right down to the last 3 minutes, and Maryland's experience able to come out on top.
There were Final Four expectations with this Maryland team in the very first practice. For UConn, no one expected them to be in this spot right here. Is the pressure something to think about at this point for each side?
You know, I think that Maryland came in here very loose in practice the other day, but when you hear their players speak, Jim, it's a little bit different. I think that their focus was not to go ahead and get in the NCAA tournament. It was not to even win the regional. Their focus is on one thing, winning the national championship. So you've got a group of senior players here who have won more games than any other group of seniors in Maryland's history. I think for Connecticut, you have such a young basketball team, but a team that's had such great success here late in the season, they think they can beat anybody. And there's a big change right there. Chris Wilcox in the starting lineup now that makes Maryland's front line even deeper than the team that Connecticut played earlier on in this year.
Tom Rucker heading this officiating crew. He'll toss the ball here, retiring at the end of this season. One of the great ones. Dixon with the lob right off the start to Baxter. What a beginning for the Terrapins.
And we talk about experienced players. There are two of those seniors right there that have been part of this incredible run Maryland's made in the last 4 years. Interesting matchups here. Point guard on point guard, shooting guard on shooting guard.
Mouton will have the Butler assignment today. Selvey doesn't like it that far away. Kicks it back out. Brown with 5 on the shot clock. Three-pointer, UConn.
I don't know why Blake was falling off that far away from the basket, particularly with the clock winding down. And here we see going inside with Baxter, trying to get Okafor in trouble early. That steps.
Yeah, he challenged the freshman. Okafor forced him into a travel here right off the tip. Dixon with the lob to Lonnie.
Well, Talik Brown had no chance whatsoever, particularly with a big man going in behind him. Remember the other day, Roland Roberts from Southern Illinois, 11 for 16, 24 points, and really got started early against Connecticut down inside.
Wilcox sweeps after the Butler miss. Dixon off balance.
He respected Okafor. Do you notice how he altered the shot?
He did. He changed it on the way up.
Yep, even though it wasn't blocked, it was altered. So his reputation precedes him.
Mouton kept it alive. Saves it on the baseline.
Here comes Dixon hustling.
And a foul on Butler.
Actually, Juan Dixon should have been down there in a position to make that layup. He didn't think that the ball was going to eventually be recovered by Mouton, so he kind of goofed off on the other half of half court. Could have been in for a layup.
Dixon kicks it back out. Baxter, jumper. Mouton back up with it. Wilcox on the follow, right over the rim.
Now Wilcox is a man that Connecticut, if they're going to stay in this game, will have to keep off the boards. As I said, he did not start in the first game, in which Connecticut surprisingly out-rebounded Maryland by 10. But he plays above everybody when he's not blocked out.
They out-rebounded him, but Maryland beat him by 12. That was in Washington in December. Tipped around by Butler and saved by Mouton. Maryland ball.
Maryland really going to the defensive glass here, and there you can see again we've had so many ball in the cylinder plays, Jim. I think that one was in the cylinder.
Close.
Yeah. They have not been called, and it's been consistent no call by the referees.
Robertson swats it out of bounds.
Great timing by Robertson on that play. Good curl move by Dixon. Got too wide open, but you can see Robertson's athleticism to be able to go up with Dixon, who's a good leaper himself. Zone out of bounds situation. And they stay in the 2-3 zone. Dixon will try to find himself a hole, and there it is.
He found it. Three-point shot connects.
Good cross-court pass. Robertson has to stop that passing lane. Much too easy for Maryland.
7-3 Terrapins. And Dixon with the near steal.
Jim, I pointed this out about Dixon throughout the course of this NCAA tournament. That was Juan Dixon, the steal leader all time at Maryland. He gets more steals off the ball with his great ability to anticipate the pass. He averages only 2 fouls a game, and yet is the leading steal man, never having fouled out of a game and yet being one of the best defensive players in the country. That's quite an accomplishment.
Says something about his anticipation.
Absolutely.
And his basketball savviness on the court.
There he was again, almost picking one off.
Robertson 3. And Wilcox tips it. Butler in the right spot for UConn.
That time, Wilcox's ability to go up high probably hurt him a little bit, Jim, because he really shouldn't have been able to get his hand on that ball. Boy, the curl moves are very easy for Maryland to get nice shots coming off.
Mouton had a shot, passed up on it. Bounce pass, Baxter rolls
Second
out.
jump.
Yes, tipped in by Baxter.
That's the unusual thing about Lonnie Baxter, his ability on the second jump to be up there around the rim, carrying a lot of weight, upper body, and just as Roberts did for Southern Illinois, those big guys with wide bodies able to do a lot of damage against Connecticut. Beautiful pass.
To Dixon, to Baxter, taken away by Butler. 3-on-2, UConn. Talik Brown comes in.
Oh, boy.
And that is goaltending.
Wilcox, so quick off his feet. Probably an overpass by Dixon on the last play inside. Baxter was anticipating the shot and was getting himself ready to go up for the rebound. Teams have had success picking up Blake full court.
Another steal by the Huskies. Robertson, numbers for UConn. Can't get control of it in time. Brown, too strong, tipped out Butler. Robertson has to take the open three. Good.
This is the game that Connecticut and Jim Calhoun would like to play. Up and down the court, taking away some of that interior power of Maryland, making their big guys run the court often and early. There again, another cool move where there's jump shots available.
Wilcox gets past Selvey, and he'll head to the line. Selvey with the hack.
Jim, one of the things that Jim Calhoun did very well in the Southern Illinois game is use Justin Brown and Mike Hayes. Between the two of them, they played 24 minutes in that game. I think we'll see more of that today, trying to wear down Baxter, knowing that Gary Williams has Taj Holden to bring in, and Randall if he needs to. Wilcox, a very poor free throw shooter early on this year, but he shot extremely well here during the tournament.
Got out of the state of North Carolina, and all those ACC schools headed up the Gary Williams way at Maryland. 10-10 at the first break.
The new black is silver. Bacardi Silver Premium Malt Beverage. 5% alcohol by volume. Your night just got more interesting.
Get into overdrive with the 2002 Saturn L200. Just $202 due and $265 a month. Visit your nearest Saturn retailer today.
Men think about women every 5.3 seconds. Men think about soap? Probably never, because they're all the same, except this one. New high-endurance deodorant soap made just for guys. Maybe now women will think about you every 5.3 seconds. New from Old Spice.
Happy Easter from Hershey's Kisses.
Spin, spin, spin the globe. It's your turn to spin the globe.
All around the world, Siemens is energizing the cities and towns we live in. We engineer new ways to efficiently generate, distribute, and use power. And by providing energy to people everywhere, we're giving them the power to live better.
Spin, spin, spin the globe. It's your turn to spin the globe.
It's a full-service show, Dave!
Dave?
Dave is your friend.
The first name, Dave, in late-night television.
Your name comes up all the time.
Jim, we have a situation here where we see everybody 5 on the glass for Maryland, but Steve Blake's in no man's land. He's not blocking out, and he's not getting back to his man. Watch what happens when the ball comes out. There's Blake in no man's land. Robertson, who was waiting out at the 3, and also for defensive balance, buries the 3.
Robertson's hit a 3. Brown's hit a 3 for UConn. Game is tied at 10.
1-2-1-1 full court press.
Over the top of that press to safety.
Well, Selby and Okafor are not really the best, the ball handlers against the press. And I'm sure that's the reason that Gary Williams employed it. Pick and roll.
Selby with the tip in.
And we see right away that Selby going to the glass. Nobody's put a body on him at all. Baxter and Wilcox thinking they can just out-jump the Connecticut players. There's that curl move again. And Maryland are getting a lot of good plays off of that. Guys not taking advantage.
Baxter gives it up. Mouton rattles in for the tie at 12.
Very important shot there for Maryland. Mouton, who played extremely well against Florida State in the ACC tournament, has not been shooting well since.
Oh, backdoor Robertson was open, just couldn't find the handle. Back here at the Carrier Dome, the East Regional Final. Jim Nantz, Billy Packer, and Bonnie Bernstein. Great intensity early in this matchup for the final spot at the Final Four.
Gordon in, giving some more power on that perimeter shooting ability. Hit 3 of 6 threes in that first game against Maryland.
Blake shut off by Brown underneath, and count the basket. Dixon.
That was just an education lesson by Dixon against the freshman, who anticipated he was going to come out over the top. Now, one of the things Dixon probably does as well as anybody that's as big a scorer as he is, he really moves well on the baseline without the ball. Gordon will have to really be aware of it. Pretty good size matchup here. Mouton on Butler, but Butler has been outstanding with turnaround jump shots. And Jim, he really believes he can put this team on his back as he did against North Carolina State in that brilliant performance.
He wanted that shot right there after misfiring on his first 2 jumpers. Dixon banks it home, answers right back. Yes, Butler had said yesterday that I set the Final Four as a goal for my team and myself, and I want to put the team on my back and lead them to the Final Four in the championship.
Well, we have seen Kansas in the Final Four, 88, Danny Manning taking his club and doing just that. We've seen individuals win national championships that way.
Selby outside, not the shot they wanted. Up ahead, Wilcox was open, just couldn't find the handle.
And he looks back at Blake and says, it's my fault. What he was doing is trying to find his bearings there. But as we always know, you got to make the catch before you can make the shot.
Here's Mike Hayes coming in for Connecticut, one of the big bodies off the bench for UConn, and he has had productive minutes in the NCAA tournament.
Well,
doesn't show up necessarily on the stat sheet, Billy, but
exactly.
He has been very aggressive in his play.
And this is what you're wanting to get out of him. You're wanting to get some fouls. You're wanting to get some rebounds. You're wanting to make Maryland have to work inside and set some screens for shooters like Gordon.
Trying to get it inside. Hayes double team. Blake with the theft.
Well, Maryland's big men are really getting down the court extremely well today. Another curl move.
Dixon. That shot was over Ben Gordon, who's come in for the first time for UConn. He's their 6th man, but their 2nd leading scorer, freshman from Mount Vernon, New York.
Good hands by Butler. He was ready to go baseline.
And Mouton stole it right away off the dribble.
Connecticut
tie up. Yep, Huskies with the arrow.
Smart play by Mouton, though, not to get rid of it. It's under the other team's basket. If you do and you make a mistake, they get an easy 2. How about this? Brown and Hayes in the game at the same time early.
They take Selby out, and also out is Okafor. So Brown and Hayes, not big production expected out of them offensively. Inside for UConn, and Gordon shot rattles out. He was fouled, however. Fouled by Blake. Tournament leading scores, Billy. Take a look at it.
Well, we have one more game that some have played other than others. DeJuan Dixon, of course, has another game to play today. He's at 77 with the same number of games played. He was in the lead, but Aaron McGee, who played an outstanding game yesterday, and the way that Kelvin Sampson substituted and had so much confidence in his bench, and then he brings Aaron back into the ball game. He hits that big three. That's a deep team, an aggressive team, and certainly worthy of being a national champion now that they've worked their way to the Final Four.
Ben Gordon hits 2 free throws, and the game is tied for the 4th time. 16 all. Taj Holden in the game for the Terrapins.
Good job by Hayes holding his ground in there.
Superb substitute turnaround jumper. Not this time. Mouton is hacked on the way up. Mouton showing a lot of effort here early, Billy.
Well, you remember Mouton, Jim, in the NCAA tournament, as I said, did not shoot well, but against Wisconsin, he started to pick up his activity as a rebounder. And although only credited with 4 rebounds in that particular game, he became aggressive, and it's really changed him around. He's playing big defense, getting up on the boards, and that shot will eventually come back.
Hayes fouled him from UConn. And Dixon, after a brief rest, is ready to check back in.
He's probably off his regular season scoring average more than any other player at Maryland. He was at 11-5 regular season, down at 7-3 during the NCAA tournament. Throwing right over the top of the press so far is Connecticut.
Drew Nicholas now defending on Butler.
Butler will want to take him down inside and power him. Nicholas is quick, but Butler's a lot stronger.
Nicholas very versatile, excellent shooter, but giving up a lot of size in that matchup.
Butler's just being very patient here. Quite a crossover dribble by Gordon.
Brown outside jumper, banks it home.
That was a huge basket right there. You're not counting on Brown, who had the injury that kept him out in mid-season. The young man from Australia. A big shot there.
Basket counts, Billy, but underneath it was a second foul called on Mike Hayes here early in the game. We're tied again at 18.
The new Saab 9.5. With a more solid ride and a turbocharged engine you can't wait to take advantage of.
Yeah, you know, can I try the red one again? Oh.
Right now, lease a Saab 9.5 linear sedan starting at $399 a month for 36 months. For details, see your Saab dealer.
Thank you for calling American Express. This is Tara Hilton. How can I help you?
Talking to our card members, I just enjoy doing that.
I've been an American Express financial advisor for 13 years.
I get to know customers. I listen to them.
They can give you all the service that you need.
Thank you.
We were able to make different travel arrangements.
Some small way, you were able to influence people's lives.
It helps take out some of the stress in their life.
Which is an amazing thing to be able to do.
This spring, come home to Lowe's for that new kitchen you've always wanted. Lowe's, the only place that has the full line of warehouse or choice deck. Made from a space-age material that looks like wood but never needs treating. Lowe's, with the largest selection of patio furniture imaginable. And enough lights to brighten your world inside and out. Where we promise low prices every day. For 56 years, families have been coming home to Lowe's. Season after season after season. Lowe's, the home of improving home improvement.
10 years ago, Fred Couples hit his tee shot here at 12, and somehow it stayed dry on his way to the green jacket, a tradition unlike any other. The Masters on CBS.
Maryland and UConn all tied up, and perhaps one of the most unsung players for the Terps, senior Byron Mouton. Now, he hasn't been averaging his typical double figures in scoring scoring because his assignment for each game in the tournament has been to guard the top scorer on each team. Dwayne Archibald for Siena, Kirk Penny for Wisconsin helped hold Tayshaun Prince to 17 after he exploded for 41 in the second round. How he defends Caron Butler today, guys, could be a big factor.
Ryan Randall, Bonnie, comes right in for Maryland and slams it home.
Little pick and roll action, giving no respect for Randall whatsoever because they're so aware of Dixon and it. Oh, a steal from behind.
Yeah, they're going to call Blake instead for the reach. And that's his second. 2 on Blake. 8 minutes, 45 seconds into the game.
Blake will be the first to admit that he played a very poor game the other day, particularly in some of his decision-making down the wire against Kentucky. But he has had an outstanding season, as we know, led the ACC and battled all year long with TJ Ford as the #1 assist man in all the country. I think a 1 assist, Jim, separated those two fellas coming into
the whole season.
The whole season, yep. Who have the ball in their hands most of the time. A outstanding freshman player, did a great job for Texas.
So Blake goes out of the lineup for Maryland with the 2. Butler over Mouton, the matchup that Bonnie spoke of. And Selby, loose ball out to Robertson.
Dixon going right down on the ground, realizing Selby does not have the best of hands.
How can UConn take advantage with Blake on the bench? Well, Selby work a little bit on Randall.
Jim, the key thing you'd want to do is obviously pressure the guards and make Dixon have to handle the ball a lot more than he'd like to.
Robertson on the drive. He loves to shoot on the run.
Jim, 2 things that Robertson showed us both ends of the floor. He leaped over Dixon for the block. Remember when Dixon had the nice wide open layup? And that time, his leap put him over on the offensive end as well. Robertson doing a much better job staying with Dixon down on that baseline.
Mouton with the 3.
Not the shot they want.
And Okafor skies above everyone for the board. To the corner. Butler. He'll come in. Give it up, Selby. Yes.
Great job by Butler. He recognized where the defense was. And there's Selby hustling. Gary Williams, I'm sure, is going to say, guys, we've got to go back inside against this lineup. Maryland's gotten away from their game plan.
Dixon tries to get it inside, lucky to get it back, and the soft roll for 2 more.
Such a soft touch. You know, Dixon's one of the few guys in college basketball that has the ability to have the range 3-point shot, can take it to the basket, and then has that medium range game as well. That is a very difficult shot for a guard.
Gordon on the drive. What will they call here? A block foul.
It's going to be on Randall, a foul that Maryland can afford. Gary Williams just screaming out there, telling them to get defensive position. Both teams going to that bench deep now.
You talking about Dixon and all that range inside and outside with the shooting. He was the leading rebounder for Maryland in the game against Kentucky on Friday night with 7 boards.
Sneaky.
Very much so. Lonnie Baxter back in along with Chris Wilcox. 2 starters return for Holden and Randall. And Scott Hazelton seeing his first action for UConn.
And Jim, if you'd have said that someday we'd see Juan Dixon doing that, when I first saw him as a redshirt freshman at Maryland, I was wondering if he'd ever be strong enough to even play in a league like the ACC. But he has exceeded all expectations as a recruit beyond anybody's wildest imagination.
Talik Brown back in the lineup after a brief break for the Husky point guard. Baxter back in. Okafor.
Using that body, just as I said Roberts did from Southern Illinois. Okafor, a great shot blocker, 137 on the year, but those wide bodies are going right to his chest and then releasing. No hedge moves on Brown because they're going to let him take the jump shot.
Wilcox over the back.
Not a wise foul there because Selby that far away from the basket's not an offensive threat.
His first, team foul number 4.
Jim, these two conferences obviously have played against each other this year. The ACC getting the better of the Big East this time. They've had some great battles back in the days when they used to have the ACC Big East Challenge. But the Big East this year had the best record against non-conference foes of any conference in the United States.
That was a foul on Okafor after the shot by Robertson. Jimmy Calhoun, 24 and 7 in the NCAA tournament. He's the head coach at Connecticut. They had only won 4 in the school history before he arrived 16 years ago. Wilcox tipped out by Nicholas.
Selby got a little piece of the hand. Wilcox still looking at the official. Didn't get the call. That's the reason for the air ball. I'm wondering if Brown is going to go ahead and try to take Nicholas off the dribble one time just to see how well he can do at that point guard defensively.
Butler on the bench right now for UConn. Their leading scorer. Hazelton, a decorated high school player, but
here's the play, Jim. See how he'll do off the dribble against Nicholas.
5 on the shot clock. Step back 3. Brown.
2 threes so far today. The one thing in the scouting report you'd least expect him to do. Of course, his greatest 3 gave them the Big East championship, that 34-footer against Pittsburgh.
Wilcox
great spin.
Up high with that one.
And you can see, Jim, he just elevates above any defender that plays against him. It's just that he doesn't do it enough if you're a Maryland fan. Push
inside, and Okafor has it jarred loose. UConn ball. Timeout on the floor.
Good weak side help by Wilcox.
27-26 Huskies. We've had 8 ties in this game. The top 2 seeds in the East battling it out for a ticket to Atlanta. Both teams shooting over 50%. Fear the turtle is what they say. And look, there is a Terrapin. Is that 6 Terps on the floor right now? Can they get penalized for this?
That's the real thing. But what is kind of interesting, Talik Brown, you look at those stats and they are kind of unusual. Brown was 8 for 29 from 3, 27% coming into this game. He's hit 2 big threes. And the other thing that's interesting is that the front court scoring favors Connecticut so far. Maryland in the zone for the first time, 1-2-2. Now they showed this against Kentucky and did a good job with them. That was a bad technique on that shot.
But inside, Butler with the putback. Battling hard. 6 points for Butler.
Against the zone defense that time. That was almost a lob pass as opposed to a shot.
It almost looked like it. Talik Brown got a little greedy with that one. He's been hot early. What a save.
Beautiful pass.
Into Wilcox. And Okafor is going to be called for his 2nd foul.
And the only reason that that was a foul, Jim, is because he probably was trying to block a shot of a man who can elevate higher than anybody in college basketball.
What a play right there, Billy, by Dixon.
He just never anticipated that Wilcox could be that high. And look at the play by Dixon and the presence of mind to get rid of it. Now watch right here. Okafor times it, and he can't believe there's another level that Wilcox goes to. Normally, that ball would be blocked very easily by Okafor.
We'll probably see him not again until the 2nd half. Justin Brown takes his position.
You know, Jim, with Oklahoma advancing, Oklahoma has beaten both of these teams. They've beaten Maryland much more convincing on their home court. Arizona beat Maryland. Connecticut beat Arizona in that great overtime game that we had. And North Carolina State is a team that beat Maryland. Connecticut beat them as well. So the only balancing there is that Maryland's beaten Connecticut. It's kind of interesting in the matchups they've had against other teams around the country that were outstanding.
Well, Oklahoma going to Atlanta and with some real quality wins, and knowing on the other side of the bracket in the semifinal they will have beaten whichever team emerges if they are to get to the championship. Follow up Selvey out to Blake, who's back on the floor with 2 fouls. What a pass. Dixon, and Maryland takes the 1-point lead at 30-29.
Boy, Gordon got the shot that he wanted on the inside. We really see some attacking of the basket by Johnny Selvey against his zone. He's finding holes and just going up there after it. There's the 1-2-2 zone again.
Brown gets into paint, kicks it back out. Gordon, good shooter. 3-pointer, swish.
That was a mistake by Dixon. Even in the zone, they cannot afford to collapse with a guy like Gordon or Robertson standing out at the 3-point line.
Broadway Ben Gordon puts UConn in front, 32-30. On the blocks, Baxter.
Dixon keeps it alive, but Brown is having a real good first half. These are valuable minutes.
Big rebound and an earlier basket by Justin Brown out of Australia.
And again, Dixon is going to have to be aware of the side that Gordon's on, because that's the #1 shooter.
Selvey wants to challenge Wilcox. And a reach in.
That was Butler coming from behind, but it may go for Brown.
We're going to call it on Butler, and that's his second.
Now, Jim Calhoun would have wished it had gone the other way there.
Check out the Game Center for play-by-play of each tournament game only at cbs.sportsline.com or America Online. Enter the keyword CBS Sportsline. With 2 on Butler, 2 on Okafor, 2 on Blake on the Maryland side. And that's the 7th team foul. That'll send Lonnie Baxter to the line for a 1-and-1.
Maryland had all kinds of problems, Jim. Back in the start of the year, they were shooting 53% in the month of November from the foul line. Now they're a team in the NCAA that's hitting 83%. You talk about a difference in what you can do. They're 6 for 7 so far today. But you start talking about some of the teams we've seen in the tournament that had failings from the foul line, and that's why they're home.
Short with that one. So now Butler out of the game. Where will the points
they haven't
come from for UConn?
Jim, they're surrounding this zone. Brown needs to be out at the point because he's the least guy that you'd expect to shoot it.
And Brown, Mouton, no foul.
Have big numbers here.
Bounce pass, Wilcox. Maryland in front, 33-32.
That's what Wilcox can do so well. He runs the court and can elevate around that basket in a non-blockable situation. And here you see Mouton out at the top of the key, and I think this is a better move for Connecticut. Brown at the top, and on the wings have your 2 outstanding shooters, Robertson and Gordon.
Talik Brown, Selvey with the offensive board, and he traveled first, no basket.
Johnny Selvey just trying to gather himself inside. He's doing a great job on the offensive glass. Here's that pass. Remember the last time they had that breakaway, and Wilcox didn't watch it into his hands. He didn't make that mistake that time. Stayed right with it.
How about the reaction, Mouton with that assist. Dixon. Brown with the board.
Pretty good defense by Brown. Chested Dixon. Dixon looking around. Those eyes are always moving, looking to see where is a passing lane. What makes him such a great defender.
And a foul on Wilcox.
Now Wilcox has got to know who he's guarding out there. Even though Brown has made 2 3-point shots, he's probably going to drive rather than shoot.
It's 2 on Wilcox. That's only the 15th foul. It'll be UConn's ball when we come back in a game with 8 ties and 8 lead changes. And these pictures from our Pontiac Vibe Skycam on the floor at the Carrier Dome. Jim Boeheim court, just named so this year for the Syracuse coach. In fact, Jim Calhoun commenting it was a thrill, and he said, and I mean it, to win on Jim Boeheim's court. He's been one of my greatest supporters ever since I came in the league.
There you see the respect that Connecticut has for Robertson's ability to leap in traffic, throwing a lob pass over the zone to a 6'2" guard who is able to deliver. Young man who had thoughts about leaving Connecticut, Jim,
just
a year ago.
Yeah.
Thinking that he wasn't ever going to fit in and get the playing time and use the skills necessary. Had the patience to wait, and now has become a very, very productive member.
Recruited right off the championship team. Came in after the '99 title team. And the free throws put the Huskies back in front by 1. Largest lead in the game has been only 4 by Maryland early. Dixon. Brown influenced that shot. Baxter with the position, and he's heading back to the line.
But again, that's a foul on Brown, not Okafor, who would have been in there in the position to have to pick up his 3rd, Jim, so you can see how valuable those big men off the bench can be.
Coming up, singular at the half with Greg and Clark with the ultimate behind-the-scenes look at the NCAA tournament. And you'll hear from the Midwest regional champions, the Kansas Jayhawks, about making it to the Final Four.
Jim, this dome, you talked about the Jim Boeheim court. This dome, as you can remember, has been involved with some regional finals. We had the Florida, Oklahoma State regional final here. Florida eventually working their way to the championship. Back in '97, North Carolina beat Louisville and then lost to Arizona in the Final Four. And back in '83, one of the big upsets in the tournament history was here when Georgia beat North Carolina.
Justin Brown with the left hand.
Selby again on the offensive glass. They can't stop him.
That Georgia team went to Albuquerque and joined Louisville, Houston, and NC State. No one expected that Georgia team to be there. But you know, here's one for you. The first team to win in the Carrier Dome outside of Syracuse.
Maryland.
Maryland.
Yeah,
that's right.
Came up here for the old Carrier Classic, of which Syracuse and Jim Boeheim have not lost many. But they won both games, and they're 3-0 in here before they got up here for this tournament.
Selby with one more.
And Jim, you know, thinking of that Georgia NC State, I'll never forget back there in Albuquerque, on one side of the bracket, you had the incredible Houston and Louisville.
The game for the championship.
Yeah, right. Then you had on the other side of the bracket, two guys, let's get them out of the way, Jimmy Boeheim in Georgia. And what happened a few nights later?
Traveling, it's going back to UConn. Two Terrapins tangled up with the ball.
Gary Williams starting to work the officials a little bit. That was right in front of the... You don't like to make a call that's controversial when the coach has a better view of it than you do as the official.
Whoa, and the pressure by Holden forces the steal. Nicholas pulls up, jumper.
On the arm. And there is that block that we talk about so often, that if you can get by with it, you can stop any jump shooter in the country, and that's getting him right on the tip of the elbow.
And Talik Brown did so, his first.
Very difficult to make any kind of jump shots. If a guy can get, and he doesn't have to hit you hard, just get the tip of the elbow.
Drew Nicholas Jr. out of Hempstead, New York. Very similar frame to Juan Dixon.
Little taller. Now watch this right here. Just a little touch on that. Right there it is. The tip of the elbow. Take away any kind of jump shot. I don't care who it is.
I think Nicholas next year with Dixon off to graduation, Nicholas will be a big scorer next year for Maryland. You can see it coming. Robertson in the lane and a reach in on Maryland. It'll be a 1-and-1. And the three Final Four teams already in. Last in, Oklahoma in '88, played the championship against right there, Kansas.
They sure did.
Now, how about Mike Davis in Indiana? What a story for Coach Davis.
It is a great story. I think Coverdale's injury is going to really be important in that one, Jim. And when you think about '93, that was Kansas going to the Final Four as the only non-number 1 seed that particular year.
Down in New Orleans. Juan Dixon has picked up a second here, Billy. And Maryland trying to become the only repeat team from last year's Final Four cast, with Duke and Arizona and Michigan State all being eliminated here on this 2002 road to the Final Four.
Again, you see Jim Calhoun, 2:43 to go in the half. Brown picks up another foul, but Okafor is not having to be out there on the floor to pick those fouls and put Jim Calhoun in serious trouble in the second half. He's sitting here with a 1-point lead and using up those fouls by a sub.
And that's the 10th team foul, double bonus the rest of the half. And not only with Okafor sitting, but trying to survive the last 2:43 of the half with their leader Butler on the bench with 2.
Well, that's what you're trying to do with your bench. You'd love them to be productive, but they are if they can just give you minutes and not hurt you. And that's what Brown has been able to do so far.
Baxter gives us our 12th lead change in the first half.
Maryland really comfortable in that 2-3, but penetration has worked against them. Tough team to handle up with these good wing shooters that Connecticut has on the floor in Gordon and Robertson right now.
Brown back outside to Gordon. 10 on the shot clock. Robertson penetrates on that zone. Back out high, Gordon. He traveled.
Good patience by the zone that time for Maryland. Instead of reaching out as they did on the last occasion, everybody held their ground defensively with their feet. I'm surprised Connecticut is not picking up Nicholas full court, trying to put pressure on that ball when Blake's out of the game. Nice fake.
Blake between two defenders, and he's going to the line to try to open up a 4-point lead.
Baxter in the game earlier this year, 24 points, 10 rebounds, beautiful fake, and there he uses his body well. We're talking about a guy that's been the #1 field goal percentage shooter for Maryland, a top rebounder. second team All-ACC this year. He was a first teamer in his sophomore year.
They charged that foul not to Justin Brown, but to Tony Robertson, his second. He's going to make the observation that Dixon stays on the floor with the 2 fouls because, as you pointed out, he never fouls out anyway. So
and they're in his zone as well, too, Jim. Yep. So he doesn't have that tight man-to-man responsibility. All alone is Brown, but they don't see him.
Selvey, bank shot.
Very tough shot.
UConn has gone 4 minutes without a field goal with Butler on the bench.
Well, Jim Calhoun just trying to save time here. He wants to see this clock, this minute 36, go by as quickly as possible. I think they should be picking up Nicholas and really guarding him tough with that dribble.
Mouton caught, back out, Baxter. 10 on the shot clock. Nicholas resets at midcourt.
Gordon is not contesting his dribble enough.
It's a traveling call on Nicholas.
And there's what I'm talking about. Even without the contesting, Nicholas, who likes to play with Dixon better without the ball than with it, could have problems with tougher defense on him.
UConn has missed its last 5 shots. They'll take a lot of time here, you would think, with 1 minute and 8 seconds to go.
Not a bad idea, Jim. You're down just 4, and just to stay that close with your 2 key guys on the bench is not all bad.
Well, quick shot instead by Gordon, the freshman, and saved out of bounds by Robertson off the leg of Baxter. Quick thinking by Tony Robertson.
Well, 6'2" going up against a 6'8", 6'9" guy. And look at how high Robertson goes up. Terrific job on his part. Not much Baxter could do.
Calvin McCall in for the first time for Maryland, and the steal by Mouton, and McCall is the trailer.
Was he out of bounds?
He stepped out near midcourt.
Official right on it. A very good view, and Jim Calhoun congratulates him because he had a good eyeball view, and he wants a timeout.
Just got a toe on the side of the court. UConn ball when we come back. Less than a... Shaping up as a very handsome Final Four for Atlanta, Indiana, Oklahoma, and Kansas all qualifying. 1 more to go.
Call out there, making sure that Dixon in this last 50 seconds does not pick up foul number 3. So Blake and Dixon both on the bench right now.
Selvey inside, Baxter rejects.
If you're Maryland, you want to get the last shot. And here we see no pressure by Gordon.
Timeout, Maryland. Blake's gone in to check in at the score. Jim Nance, Billy Packer, Bonnie Bernstein. Smart move by Gary Williams here right before the half to get a couple of stars back on the court.
Right, Blake and Dixon in the game. Obviously, you don't want them to be on the defensive end of the floor, so they'll hold it for the last shot right here. Gordon on Blake, Brown on Dixon.
Set up their full firepower here for the last shot of the half.
If you're Connecticut, think of drawing a charge on Dixon if he tries to take it to the basket.
Under 10 seconds to go in the half. Blake coming off a screen from Holden.
If you're Connecticut, you don't want to foul.
Holden up high. Shot.
Jim, we've seen him with that range in practice
for 2 years.
Every single time we watch him practice, he'll fool with that shot, and he's got great range.
Down from the Jersey Shore, Red Bank, New Jersey's pride and joy, Taj Holden sends UConn to the locker room with its biggest deficit of the tournament.
Well, fans, this particular shot is something that he works on after practice every day. As a matter of fact, Jim, we'd have to say from a little further out. They like the practice shooting them right about half court.
And he can go straight up with it.
Absolutely. That's his normal shot. Look at Randall leaning back.
He loves to challenge Wilcox with no extra exertion. Wilcox celebrates his pal's 3-point shot. Let's go over to Bonnie Bernstein.
All right, well, Maryland able to pull away towards the end of the first half, but Coach Karan Butler and Emeka Okafor have spent a good chunk of time on the bench with 2 fouls. How have they basically been able to stay in it until now?
Well, so is Steve Blake and Chris Wilcox, so it's pretty even with the foul situation. They have good inside players beside those 2 guys that are working hard. I think we can rebound better, and that's the big thing right now. We're just not going after every ball like we should.
All right, Coach, thanks.
Thank you.
Maryland 25-1 with a halftime lead this year. They have their largest lead of the day at halftime at 7, and the Huskies' biggest deficit of the NCAA tournament. Greg Gumbel, Clark Kellogg next.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship is sponsored by Pontiac. Siemens, Miller Lite, and by Enterprise Rent-A-Car.